welcome to IGTV, and this is your special edition of Week Ahead. We'll be looking ahead to the week starting the 11th of December for you. Now, it's such a lot more happening than we think as we approach the end of the year. Let's just have a look at what's in store on the economic front. There's not a lot around on Monday, so on Tuesday, we start off with consumer confidence numbers and business confidence numbers out of Australia. Unemployment rate numbers and the ZEW will be interesting for investors of sterling and also the euro with those two data points. And from the US, look out for the latest consumer price print and API crude oil inventories too. Following on in the week, on Wednesday, we've got the Tankan out of Japan, monthly GDP figures out of the United Kingdom, trade balance to boot as well. And from the Eurozone, look out for industrial output numbers and producer prices out of the US as well. Of course, the big set piece will be the Fed interest rate decision and what they say about the outlook, because as we all know, there's been so much enthusiasm, so much in the way of hopes of this early rate cut sometime in the beginning of 2024. And on Thursday, look out for unemployment numbers from Australia, along with a UK interest rate decision, which will have Chris Beecham live with me to break that number for you. We also have an ECB interest rate decision as well. Many investors will be looking out for the ECB too, because there are some out there that think it's going to be a two-horse race between the ECB and the Fed. Who's going to cut first? So look out for that. Any indication of timing will be pounced on. We've got retail sales numbers out of the US, along with business inventories too. And on Friday, we've got consumer confidence numbers out of the UK, industrial production and retail sales from China, and manufacturing and services PMIs will be the key thing to watch out for from the Eurozone, the UK and Japan. Let's cross over now to Anthony Batista, who joins us all the way from Chicago from Tasty Live, part of IG Group. But it's such a crazy time. It seems like we should be winding down for the end of the year, but actually it's really busy out there. Two interest rate decisions. Also, I read somewhere next year is going to be key in terms of elections, some 40 elections to come, including the US one in the next 12 months. Where is the volatility going to be?
Wow, volatility is really pointing to everything being status quo right now. Like, don't upset the apple cart. Like, we're just about approaching record highs in almost every index: the Dow, the S&P 500, the Nasdaq, even the Russell, which has been the weakest of the group all year, is catching a little bit of a bid. The dollar softened a little bit. I know the euro sold off a little bit this week after having a great run the week prior. I think that's a nice little backfill there. Maybe catch another bid in the euro and in the British pound, which would be nice. I believe that's what will happen. But the market itself, election year, they're waiting for volatility. Just stay here. Don't do anything. It's like Goldilocks right now in the U.S.
Now, the other key thing too is that we are still in the midst of two wars, stubborn inflation, high borrowing costs, of course, all this talk of the interest rate or expected interest rate cut from the Fed. Where do you think the big key financial instruments will be for investors in 2024? Is it going to be oil? Is it going to be more forex, like yen, for example? We're talking about intervention there. Where are the nuggets for the action?
Yeah, it's a great question. I have a love-hate relationship with oil. I think it's one of the more news-driven products, but man, this year, meaning the year of 2023, with all of the horrible news that we've had about this world, you would think it would affect oil to make it go a lot higher. It did exactly the opposite. We're making 6 months lows in oil. I hate to use the word manipulated because I don't believe any markets are manipulated, but oil is one of those that's really news driven. And I never get the move right in oil. I have no idea why. So I'm the worst person to ask about oil. I think it's a commodity again, I don't want to say manipulate. It's just a very hard retail product to trade. And I love the retail investor. I like trying to do things that make the retail investor a little wiser in this market. And oil is just one of those things where that's a tough trade for me.
In terms of equities, I just spoke to an equity analyst recently, and he was saying that next year is going to be big in the first half for med tech, dialysis type stocks. Then later on in the year, he likes mining, and also tech will make a big rebound. What kind of sectors are you looking at for 2024?
Wow, I think I'm going to go a little bit of a different route. I'm not really a gold bug that much. I like buying dips in commodities. Gold right now, over 2,000 seems like fairly priced. Hard to make a dollar on the upside, at least in my opinion, in gold. But I'll tell you one thing. I think you've had the NASDAQ really led the rally in 2023. I think that maybe you're going to get a little bit more of like the banking stocks, those old type of dividend paying stocks that are going to lead the market in 2024 and get a little bit away from tech. Now, every market's had a nice little run here. You even had cryptocurrencies, making highs they have not seen all year too, which, so there's always a market out there just about for any type of trader to find, especially on the bull side, if you're looking to buy low and sell high. Remember, two sides to every trade.
And you can go both ways with IG and our products here. Now, moving swiftly on is also really busy on the corporate front. Stay right there, Bat. We're going to come right back at you. We've got Oracle out with second quarter numbers on Monday. Skipping on to Wednesday because there's not much on Tuesday. We've got Adobe fourth quarter earnings. And then a little later on in the week gets more interesting with the consumer at the forefront. Currys and Costco out with quarterly and half-year numbers as well. And we end the week on that consumer retail note with Q4 sales numbers from fast fashion retailer H&M. Now, which is a big one. I assume possibly Costco would be a key trade at your side of things.
Yeah, now you're hitting my wheelhouse, the equity side of the market. Costco, Adobe, been two leaders, especially Costco, a leader in the market. I wouldn't be surprised if Costco continues to see good numbers, but I don't know if it'll be reflected in the price in 2024, meaning Costco may have gotten a little bit ahead of itself right now. Adobe is not one of those stocks that pays a dividend. Adobe is a nice, how do you say it? Up and down type of stock. Costco has been much more fluid with its movement to the upside. Costco also is one of those stocks I just mentioned a moment ago that pays a very nice dividend, a little over $1 dividend, which equates to about a 0.72 interest on that money. So Costco for me is probably one of those stocks for 2024 that I think will still continue to lead the market.
And interestingly enough, plenty of broker upgrades for Costco in the last month or so. Just one really quick question for you, because the retail space is always interesting to our clients here. Are you finding on the ground that retailers in the US, those that offer the buy now, pay later services, are the ones that are faring better?
I'm thinking they got a little bit ahead of themselves too. I don't like that business model, only from a consumer standpoint. When we have to go in our pockets and say, I'll pay you down the road, it's usually not a good thing for the consumer.
Thank you very much, Bat, there from Chicago. Tasty live for us, which is part of IG Group. Until then, have a good weekend. Do tune in for more analysis. You'll find all of my analysis and IG's analyst analysis on at IG.com and at Angeline Ong on Twitter, and of course our website too. This is IGTV.